All right, everyone. It looks like in some way this is convincing me. When I was talking to Molyneux on the topic of DACA and immigration, what I said is that I expected Trump is basically screwing with the minds of some of the neoliberal Democrats, hoping to get a few of them aboard to pass his immigration reform, because he knows McCain's not going to vote for it. McCain is a complete turncoat. He's being applauded by progressives right now. Which is funny because, years ago, what did we say about McCain? And this is back when I was a self-proclaimed liberal. Oh, well, he's a warmonger. He's fucking out of touch. Doesn't know what he's talking about. The dude's crazy. He hides behind the fact that he served and he was a veteran and he was a prisoner of war. So you can't question what John McCain says. You can never question his ethics or morals. He's been a career politician half his life, but he was a veteran once. So, we can't actually criticize him. Bullshit. I'm going to keep criticizing John McCain. I don't care whether he was a prisoner of war. That doesn't mean that his proposals are right. It doesn't mean he's a virtuous individual. It doesn't mean he has a drop of ethics within his blood. It doesn't. I'm sorry, but we got to get away from that sort of hero worship mentality that totally denies fundamental reality. Look at what he says and what he does rather than some former status that he had as a prisoner of war. And you'll know the real John McCain. The real John McCain is bomb, bomb, bomb Iran. That's the real John McCain. He's a warmonger. He's just like Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, if Dick Cheney had been in the military once, that's what John McCain is. I don't care about John McCain. But Pelosi comes out the other day, shaking hands again with the Don. Oh, I trust Trump. Yeah, don't worry. Things are going just fine on DACA. Things are going just fine on the immigration reform. Schumer comes out, goes a little more hardline. He's like, oh, well, Trump's damn wall and stuff like that. But Pelosi seems more receptive, and she's like, oh, well, we're also going to talk about infrastructure. Why do I have a sneaking suspicion that Trump is playing her right now? And that he's going to get wall funding or a sanctuary city crackdown, or one of the things that I myself suggested would probably be in the mix as far as the immigration negotiations, and that she's putting on the back burner right now infrastructure and going to extract something from him on that while he also continues to get his way. Because remember, this was another Trump campaign proposal, and I think people forgot it. Didn't Trump propose freeing up a shit ton of funding to improve our infrastructure? Wasn't one of his big lines, oh, you look at the airports in Dubai or Riyadh, and they're like shining, they're perfect. You come here, they're all dilapidated. You look over at the Middle East, oh, they got glorious bridges, everything gilded and shining and beautiful roads. And you come here and our infrastructure's fucked up because DC is fucked up. That was a big campaign selling point for Trump. It wasn't one of the main things that his core fan base cared about, infrastructure spending. In fact, some probably opposed the idea, because, oh, drop the tax rate. What if I told you could do both? If Trump gets his tax reform, there will be more funding available for infrastructure. There simply won't be a huge tax burden on the middle class and small businesses and entrepreneurs, the most productive parts of society. And also that would create jobs also to lift people from the lower and working class upwards into the lower middle class, the middle class, maybe the upper middle class. It'd be a good thing for the economy overall. We could finally get away from the poverty caused by the war on poverty, which means socialism. Wanton socialism. Centrally planned, bureaucratically administered, ineffectual, and inept forms of socialism. Something more direct and efficient, yeah, you can make a case for that, I guess. Just like with single payer, I keep echoing this. Go ahead and get it. But you're going to have to cut a shit ton of bureaucratic waste and fraud, number one. You're going to have to get rid of a whole bunch of centralization, number two. And you're going to have to keep it simple. You're going to have to include cross-state competition. You're going to have to include breaking up pharma monopolies if you want it to work. If you do that, yeah, you can pay for it just fine. Everyone will have health care in the United States, and we'll still be paying less than we're paying now. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the tax rate, you could drop it for the vast majority of Americans, as long as you get those multinational corporations to actually pay something. Hey, you want to be a big corporation? Be in the U.S. where things are stable. You're guaranteed by the largest military. You've got a tech literate workforce. You want all those things? You're going to have to pay some taxes for once. You haven't in 20, 30 years. You're going to have to start paying a bit. Sorry about that, but these small businesses have to compete too. Trump does that just fine. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm right about Trump on DACA. I have a sneaking suspicion that elements of DACA will be gone through in the legislature. They'll pass. Trump will be saying, well, you know, people who served, they're here illegally, but they served in the military, they can stay. They came here while they were very small. You know, they didn't actually plan to come here. They were brought here. They can stay. The other classes, more up in the air. That's more of a gray area. He may deport them all. Which, by the way, is, you know, about 95% of that actual total. Which is fine with me. I don't really care. Those two particular small classes of people, I don't think the average American feels frightened by them. If he can get wall funding and or a sanctuary city crackdown in the meantime, as part of that negotiation by telling Pelosi, hey, you know my infrastructure plan? Did you forget about that? Yeah, I'm willing to free up a bunch of money for infrastructure. We'll even throw some pork barrel politics your way in your state, and we'll build a couple of really nice things for you too. And your approval will rise as a result of this, because we'll talk about immigration separately, but we'll combine them eventually, and don't worry about it. He wins. He gets everything that he wants. He gets the immigration reform. He gets the infrastructure spending. He can tie it into tax reform. He gets fucking everything. The Democrats get a portion of DACA back. That's all they get. But they agree with him on infrastructure spending. On that token, he's more a Democrat anyway than a Republican. Pelosi knows this. All of her bombast and public browbeating of the Trumpite, evil populist bigot movement aside, she knows damn well that on infrastructure spending, Trump is a garden variety business Democrat. So she's not going to stand in his way. She's going to love it. It makes sense. And he's not going to be able to work with the never-Trumpers. Look, he could tell John McCain tomorrow, hey, you know, I think I'm going to bomb Iran, just like you said that we should. We're just going to haul off and wipe him off the map. He would oppose that too at this point. Oh, Trump is being a warmonger again. You know, just ignore that little ditty during the campaign when I was running for president, you know, where I was chanting about how funny it would be to commit genocide against some tens of millions of people. Just ignore that. I was a prisoner of war, so it's okay. That's John McCain's line. Lindsey Graham. Oh, Lindsey Graham. What a funny man he is. At least he's more humorous than John McCain. John McCain's humor less. Graham's just a standard neocon, less of the strict warmonger side than John McCain is, so he's more tolerable. Still dishonest, still obviously corrupt, but more tolerable, honestly, than John McCain is. When Trump can get more going by working with the Democratic leadership, Nancy Pelosi of all people, she's more receptive to working with him than elements within the Republican Party. That's just a sad statement about how fucked up the neocons really are. The thing is, they're not opposed to infrastructure spending either, as long as you don't want to tax some big corporation they're getting donations from to do so. That's why these big corporate groups are protected, by the way, by the neocons and neoliberals. They're the ones making all the campaign donations. This is basically the political kickback, never reforming the tax code so they don't pay any taxes. Instead of paying a tax, they pay like a 2% bribe to the politicians. Woohoo! It's wonderful! Money keeps flowing around and they keep getting reelected undeservedly. 99% of these people shouldn't be reelected. But I think Trump is doing the right thing here. I think these negotiations are going to expand. Infrastructure spending, a la the Democratic Party, will be implemented. He in turn gets his wall funding. If he can do that, he gets a double win because he suggested both. During the campaign, you did notice there were always a few things that he would say that seemed more left-leaning, not in keeping with a traditional Republican platform from the 90s or the 2000s. Didn't you notice this? Don't you think that he's going to throw these things to the Democrats and win anyway because he already suggested them? Oh, when I was campaigning, I said we would improve our infrastructure. We announce a new $100 billion infrastructure deal. Paired with this, I'm getting $100 billion to build my wall. Hey, it's wonderful. I win. Trump wins. Yeah, forever. Yeah, applause for him. Feed his ego. He can gild that wall in solid silver if he wants to. That's how he plans to do things. He's going to work with both parties, and it was inevitable that he was. And if that means, by the way, that not every single person here illegally gets deported, only 99% of them do, why would you be worried? You need the wall. Sanctuary cities are a problem. You got to crack down on them, but you have to give something to your so-called ideological opponents to actually fix the problem. You can't just do what Obama did and sign an executive order and expect the problem to go away. It's a temporary fix. The next administration can tear it up just by signing a piece of paper. It's not lasting. Obama's learning this the hard way. Virtually everything that he did was in an executive capacity. Trump is at leisure to destroy virtually everything that Obama did other than the ACA. And the ACA will fail on its own. There won't be one shred of Obama left in the country when Trump is done, if he gets a second term. Because I think he hates Obama. I think he took those insults personally. And he's not wrong, by the way, to do that. Obama, he has that tendency to be a little snarky. He did that to Clinton, too. Clinton still has an axe to grind against Obama. The Clintons and Obamas don't get along. They campaign together. They obviously don't get along. They're not friends. They're at most frenemies, competitors. But Trump is working with Pelosi and got her to say, to the public, yeah, I trust Trump. Well, that's funny. Months ago, you said he was the Antichrist. Now you trust him because he's made you a promise to give you that infrastructure deal that you want, that he wants, that some of the neocon Republicans want. This may also drag the never-Trumpers aboard. He may force them to back immigration reform by holding it over their heads and offering them the carrot at the same time and saying, look, we can all get along here. I want the wall funded, but I'm willing to invest in infrastructure. That includes for your states. You got some slum area that doesn't have, the highways falling apart, the rail is falling apart, the airport's all cracked up and fucked, needs an expansion. I've got your back, dude. Don't worry about it. We'll fund that too, but you gotta fund the wall. Because I want the wall, because I want to be reelected. And if he fails, of course, I won't support him if he runs again. I said that to Molyneux. If he backs off on that, if he doesn't make good, or at least make a damn good attempt to do so, in good faith, yeah, I won't support him again. It'd be a big breach of his campaign. It'd be like Obama said, I'll close Gitmo. Well, he never closed Gitmo. It's still open. I'll withdraw from Afghanistan. Well, you kind of did, but then you fucked everything up in the withdrawal by telling your enemies your plans. Trump is right on that too, by the way. When Trump says, well, I'm not going to announce my plans ahead of time on military matters, when he defers to Mattis and allows Mattis to talk to the media, and Mattis is very close, he's very somber, he doesn't want to say too much, he just makes some aside, yeah, we can get it done, but I'm not going to tell you how. That's the proper way to do things. It's about time we had that kind of military leadership. Maybe we'll actually win a conflict once in a while if we stay with that general doctrine, as opposed to fucking around for years. Proxy wars. We don't need them. Should withdraw even more troops from around the world, put them all in South Korea, see what Kim Jong-un does then. I wonder how he would react if 250,000 U.S. troops showed up on his doorstep, along with half the Navy. I think he'd be a little bit concerned. That's about all. Peace out.